Welcome to the All Inclusive Podcast, and I'm your host, Shy. Uh, Today, Gentle is out, but she will be back next week, and she sends her love to the All Inclusive family. Um, Today, I'm really, really excited. I'm nervous, but I'm excited at the same time because I don't got my road dog with me, but we have an amazing topic that we're going to talk about, and I have a guest. Okay, so we're going to start off with a temperature check. I just told you guys how I was feeling. Um, to my guest, how you feeling? Hot, cold, warm? How you feeling?
I'm excited.
You're
I'm
excited?
really excited.
Okay,
I'm nervous.
okay.
My first podcast. I'm nervous, but I'm excited. I feel like we will touch a lot.
Good, good,
Um,
good, good, good. And the topic that we are going to be hitting on is entrepreneurship. Okay. Um, and my guest is actually an entrepreneur. Um, and she's not just an entrepreneur, she's the one that writes the checks so that I can, make my money. So she is actually my boss. Introduce yourself.
my name is Creshia. I am the owner of Family Ties Assisted Living.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey,
Yes. So she owns an assistant living. Um, and I kind of want to start off by what made you want to become an entrepreneur? Like, what's your story?
So I tell people all the time, like, entrepreneurship is this thing where people just are like, I want to be an owner. I want to run a business.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that simple.
Right.
I wasn't always that person that wanted to own a business. I
Mm-hmm.
worked a 9 to 5. I made 60,000 a year. I was comfortable with that.
Mm-hmm.
However, I did work in the healthcare field,
Okay.
and I saw a lot of just disdain in the healthcare community.
Okay.
I actually wrote the plans that got assisted livings paid through the state Medicaid program.
Okay. Okay.
And in doing so, I went in and out of a lot, and I saw a lot of bad things
Mm-hmm.
that were just falling on deaf ears. I wrote APS reports. I reached out to families. People just were not that concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So I always said, maybe year 5 of my 10-year career, I said, I'm gonna open an assisted living. And I wasn't sure how, I wasn't really sure what that would look like. And then COVID struck,
Mm.
and I had all of this downtime.
COVID was big for a lot of people
Yep.
because you saw an emergence of people who opened up businesses because they had number one the time, and number two they had lost their jobs that they were so comfortable in.
Yep.
So they were like, I still got a family I gotta feed.
Absolutely. And COVID was also a rough time in the assisted living community because you had these elderly people who now are confined, are, stuck in rooms. Some
Mm-hmm.
facilities had outbreaks of COVID. And excuse me, it was really rough.
Mm-hmm.
And then here we were as case managers, where monthly we were going in, but now COVID had come upon us and we couldn't go in.
Right.
So we were the people that they at least knew were coming to check on them.
Wow.
And then here you are, it's
Just
no more of
gone.
us, it's
Yeah.
just gone.
Yeah.
So as COVID was tough for me, it was also a time to kind of regroup. How can I do this? How can I make this happen? And I did it. I started my business dead smack in the center of COVID.
Dead smack in the center of COVID. So you guys hear that, like, COVID was bad for us as just people, the humankind, but there were some great, points of us being shut down.
Absolutely.
Um, wow. So once you like decided, okay, I'm gonna start this business, like what was your process like? What was your process, your actual process that you had to go through, and also what was your mental process? And you have a family, so like how did your family adapt to you being a 9 to 5er as opposed to a entrepreneur?
Absolutely. So my husband thought I was crazy. My husband's a business owner, as well, an entrepreneur, and I support him.
Mhm.
So when I said it, he knew me and he knew that my vision was great,
Mhm.
but he didn't know what that looked like and
Right.
what that would take. So, with any business, there's a startup cost.
Mhm.
And it was random. It was so random. It was just like one day, babe, I'm always talking about assistant living. I think we should start it right now. And then I also had a family member who was kind of pushing me like, I
Mhm.
think you should do it, I think you should do it.
Mhm.
And I'm grateful for that push because that kind of pushed me along also.
Mhm.
um and I just stepped out on faith. I mean, they say just a mustard
A mustard seed.
seed
Yeah.
size, and I had the mustard seed, and thankfully I had the financial backing to do it because
Mhm.
it takes it. um and I just was like, you know what? I'm doing it. I don't care. And I did it. And I'm not saying that it was easy.
Mhm.
I didn't know what it looked like to have to deal with zoning and use and occupancy and Office of Healthcare Quality. I didn't know those things.
Mhm.
But I researched to just make myself as aware as I possibly could. And I did it step by step by step. And it's something so funny because I had actually started this process back in 2016.
Mm.
I had took the assisted living manager course that you have to have back in 2016.
Mhm.
But again, I had that 9 to 5. I was comfortable and
Yeah.
I really, really wasn't ready. And I was almost finished in 2016 and I just stopped. So when I, decided to do it in the midst of COVID, I
Mhm.
had to finish that assistant living manager course in the midst of COVID. I had
Mhm.
to do all of those things. So again, to go back to your initial question, my family thought I was crazy, you know. But I just told my husband, like, just trust me, like
Mhm.
just trust me on this. And he did. And he's my biggest supporter. I thank God for him because honestly, I couldn't have done it without him.
Mhm.
I thank God for my children because when I first started, I spent days on end, and I'm not talking about 1 day, 2 day. I'm talking about 10 days, 12 days,
Mm.
where family ties was my life and I couldn't afford to pay people.
Mhm.
So I had to be there and I had to work and I had to, do all of the things that it took just to take care of that one person that I had at the time.
Mhm.
So, they stuck by me and I'm thankful for it and it has paid off,
Right, right, right.
tremendously. So,
You said something great. You said, I couldn't afford to pay a whole staff. Um, and sometimes, with this microwave mentality, it's like, I want to be a boss. I have this idea. And from having this idea, even with the financial backing,
hmm
right? You are investing money that you have.
yep,
So you cannot pay a staff
you
or a
can.
full staff.
You can. You can.
Um, and from that, it's like I have to be the staff.
Yep.
And did you work your 9 to 5 also?
I did. So starting up, we had the money to start the business. I
Mhm.
was grateful. My husband invested. We started the business,
Mhm.
right? And it was good.
Mhm.
But then the reality, what you said, the microwave business where everybody wanted to happen fast,
Right,
fast,
right,
fast.
right.
And although I had come from that community, assisted living community world, the connects that I had weren't connecting for me. It wasn't
Mm.
working for me. So I had to build outside relationships, and it came a point where I was literally working my 9 to 5 to cover family ties assisted living.
Mhm.
And then something else I'll tell you, God has a way of working. Take you back to COVID. Here, I had worked for this company for 10 years, dedicated my everything to them, went above and beyond, was the, scholar employee. And when COVID struck, I was faced with the ultimatum of get a COVID vaccine or you no longer have a job. You know.
Mm.
And at that time, COVID was new. The vaccine was new.
We have a burper.
Excuse me. It's acid reflux, I think. I'm sorry. But yeah, the vaccine was new and I just didn't have that much faith,
Mm,
in it.
mhm,
So here I was fronting my business with my 9 to 5 income,
mhm.
and bam, out of nowhere, well, if you're
Gone.
not getting that vaccine, you don't have a job.
Wow.
And just the Leo in me was like, well, I guess I don't have a job,
Okay, fire signs.
you know.
Okay.
So here I was, year one into my business,
Mhm.
job fronting it, job gone.
And usually the first 3 to 5 years of a business, most businesses do not see a income that they can sustain from.
At least not a profit.
Not a
You
profit, yeah.
usually aren't profiting, and that goes with the territory. I think
Right.
that's within any business. You're putting out to build. But I'll tell you that, and that's why I say God works in mysterious ways, because me losing my job was a gift and a curse, because that relaxed part of me that was
Mm,
like, well, I work, I can, hold it
mhm,
down. It was like, I don't have a job.
mhm,
What's about to happen? And when I say that is when I started to market, like I never knew that I could market.
mhm.
It was like, okay, family ties is my bread and butter now.
Yeah.
It allowed me the time to get out, to put my business out there, to make new connections, to meet new people. And as nervous as I was about it, I just dove all in, and I made some amazing connections,
Mhm.
and I'm thankful for that, because had that not happened, I don't know that I would even still be where I am today, because I was so relaxed in that
Mhm.
sure thing. I
Yeah.
know I'm going to get that 2-week paycheck.
Right.
So it
Yeah.
is what it is.
Okay. Okay. So I wanted her to tell her story because a lot of times, like oh, as people, we're like, I want to be a boss. I want to be a boss. I want to be a boss. But you don't really know what it takes to be a boss because a boss feeds other people. And like I said before, she's my boss. I said in the last show, I work in the healthcare. She's actually my boss. So thank you for coming on and sharing your story, but
Absolutely.
we're gonna talk some more about, entrepreneurship, like down and dirty. Like what tips could you give to people that are trying to start a business, and what do you see is the biggest issue in the workforce right now from the boss standpoint? Because before you were the employee,
Hmm.
so you didn't have to deal with all the issues.
Absolutely.
So what tips could you give, and also what issues do you see? And you can answer it however you would like to answer it.
So I would first say, now in this day of social media and all of these things can be perceived to look a certain way.
Mhm.
If in fact you want to open up a business, do it because number one, it's really what your heart is into, and,
Mhm.
and you genuinely want to do it. Not because you heard somebody say, oh, you could make $20,000 a month. Do it because you genuinely want to do it. Do the research,
Mhm.
because especially I can speak for assisted living world. So many people are getting into assisted living, but they don't absolutely understand what it takes.
Mhm.
You know, LLCs, EINs, taxes, payroll, those are real things. And even in assisted living, we see, I have talked to people who have said, well, I worked in facilities and they don't even pay me, or I don't get my check on time.
Mm.
So just do your due
That's never
diligence.
happened to me.
Absolutely not. Do your due diligence in it, if it's absolutely what you want to do. you know I can say to you, because we work together,
Mhm.
taking care of these people we take care of is not the easiest job.
It's physically, it's emotionally, it's mentally draining.
It's draining.
Yeah.
However, we make it look
Yeah,
easy.
yeah,
We make
definitely.
it look easy. I tell people all the time, when I open up an assisted living, I wanted it to be somewhere that I wouldn't have a problem putting my mother in, my father in,
Absolutely.
my grandmother in. My grandmother was sick, ended up having her legs amputated. At the time, I didn't have an assisted living. And we just did not have I hate to say time, but we really didn't have the time to dedicate 100% of ourselves to take care of her.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, she ended up in a nursing home. You know, we checked in, we made sure she was okay, but it still wasn't the same.
Right.
And she ended up passing. Do I think that had I had an assistant living at that time and could have really provided the care that she needed, she probably would still be here, you
Mhm.
know? So I just say, do it because you want to do it. We, not me,
Yeah.
we go above and beyond for
Yes.
our residents.
Yes.
Somebody can come into our facility at any time. It's
Mm.
clean, they're clean, it's
Mhm.
good food cooking,
All the
healthcare
time.
needs are up to par,
Yes.
outside services are coming in. We don't play,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So that and all in all, that was the reason that I initially started. Like I said, because I saw so many bad ones.
Yeah.
I saw so many bad ones. So I would just tell people, do your research. Do it because you really, really want to do it. If money is the motive, the healthcare field is not it.
Yeah.
It's not it.
And integrity is number one because I can say I've worked in big corporations, um, and you're considered a small business, but um, ain't nothing small about it.
Mm, nothing.
Nothing small about it. And I'm sort of like a right hand man in
Absolutely.
a sense.
Absolutely.
And we'll do interviews and I'll say, treat this place like it's $1 million industry.
You do.
Yeah, treat
Absolutely.
this place like it's millions coming in here.
It is. It is.
Um,
And something I'll say is you go harder sometimes for family ties than I do because with interviewing people, with going through staff, sometimes I'd be like, you know what? I'm sick of this. You know what I'm saying? I'm sick because common sense, I say it all the time, just isn't so common.
mhm.
What we think should be common sense, some people just it's just
It's just
not.
not. It's just not. Yeah.
So it kind of is what it is. But I will say, opening up a business, I kind of prioritize the things that I absolutely hated about being an employee.
Hmm.
I don't want to be micromanaged.
Right.
I don't want to be, judged for how I wear my hair or,
Hmm.
anything like that. So me, I'm not a micromanager.
Right.
So when we get staff that needs to be micromanaged, sis,
So
I,
do you think that that's happening more so now because of the social media world of being like, oh, well, I could just become a content creator, or I could just start a podcast, or I could just do this and I can just play. I've seen a commercial yesterday and I don't know if this is true or not, but somebody was like, they make good money just being on their phone playing games all day. And I'm like, playing games, yeah, like Uno and this and that. I'm like, what? So it's like people see the fast money thing.
yeah.
So like the work ethic is just like gone. Or common sense, like you said, like, hey, I have a schedule. I'm gonna show up. And I'm gonna show up on time, which means early,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna give it my all.
What I will say and again, I can only speak to the field I'm in.
Hmm.
Assisted living already draws a younger,
Hmm.
um, type of person to it.
Hmm.
I don't know if it's because it's so physical and things
Right.
hands on, but you already get that younger a crowd that kind of apply and is looking for a job, and it's great. When you're interviewing them, it's, oh, I could do it. Oh, I'm available. Oh, this, oh, that. But I don't think that people are really in it again for the right thing.
Yeah.
I think it's just a job. I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna do my 8, I'm gonna skate.
Yeah.
You know. Whereas we really, really care. I really care about what you look like. I really care about what you smell like. I really care about,
Hmm.
have you had your medical appointments?
Hmm.
I care about how comfortable you are.
Hmm.
Are we providing the foods that they like? Are they
Yes.
seeing the shows that they like? I really care about those things. And I just think that work ethic, just, I hate to say it, isn't really there or being taught in our younger people. So that leads to the micromanagement. Oh, girl, it's 85 degrees outside, I ain't
Hot
doing
girl
it. Yeah, it
summer.
leads to those things, and you hate to judge because I'm not saying that applies to all
Oh, yeah.
people. We have
Yeah.
young staff that do well.
Yes.
However, I just think when you're seasoned and you're a little older, you care about home cooked meals, you care about cleanliness,
Yes.
you care
That's
about.
like godliness in the facility.
Yeah. So, that's just what I personally think it is. I'm not saying I count out the young people.
Yeah.
They're strong, they're needed in this
Mhm.
field. But that's what I think it is. And I think it starts at home. I think
Mhm.
work ethic starts at home. It is what it is,
Yes,
you
yes,
know.
yes.
So, yeah,
But this day and age is definitely different as far as what they will allow themselves to do as opposed to what they won't allow themselves to do.
absolutely. I agree.
Um I also I know for me when cuz I'm a founder, um it's so hard for people to take your business serious. Like it's it's not their business, but when you have someone who or a team that takes your business as if it's, their business, it's a different approach that they give to you because it's like,
Absolutely.
no, you can't do this. And it holds not just them accountable, but everybody else around them accountable.
Absolutely.
Um, so that's just something that I've seen, especially like since starting the podcast. A lot of people hit me up and be like, I want to be on the podcast. And I'm like, okay, I got an episode for you. And then they cancel. And it's like the day of.
And
And
they
it's
don't
like,
see the back. Of course, now they don't see it, but they
right.
don't see the background. They don't see the engineer that's
Mm-hmm.
behind it. They don't see what it takes
Mm-hmm.
for you to get this going. They just figure, oh, I go sit in front of a camera and I talk.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, that's because on Instagram you can create a live
Mm-hmm.
and you talking.
And you're
You
talking.
know.
Yeah.
So
Or the money that's placed into
or
it
the
because you talked about investment, and it's like you imagine if you didn't have the capital to do what you're doing, like you would be one of those assistant livings that is ran down.
yeah,
Everybody, I could personally say, everybody that comes into your establishment, it's like, wow,
our
our
establishment.
established,
This is
because
our
yes, yeah,
establishment.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. But it's like people are amazed.
Yeah.
And we talk about intersectionality here. So being a black woman um in the field, how do you feel like as far as your representation, because you have daughters, so you're representing a whole
Absolutely.
generation of, hey, you can do this. Like you
Absolutely.
don't have to work a 9 to 5, and if you have a dream and
Absolutely.
integrity is big, um then you can do whatever you put your mind to. Like, can you speak to like the black child, but not just the black child, but that black little girl that has a dream, and their environment might not be conducive to that dream right now, but they just got that heart to do it.
Absolutely. So what I would say, you first I'll start here. When I decided to do this, I said, and you hate to make it about race because it's
Right.
not about race.
But we talk about intersectionality here.
Absolutely.
So,
So when I started this, I wanted to build a team of black women. And I think I've done great so far in
mm-hmm,
that. You know, our nurse that oversees our facility is black.
mm-hmm,
Our primary care
mm-hmm,
is black.
mm-hmm,
You know, our psychiatrist
is
is
black.
black.
Yes.
So, it's some things that are out of our control, outside entities that come in. And, unfortunately, I haven't found a black occupational or physical therapy provider. Hey, if somebody knows one, tag them below.
But even the ones that come in that are non-African American, they come in and they become family.
But let's keep it all the way 100. It didn't start out that way.
It didn't.
When those people came into this facility,
They
they saw
questioned
this
us.
little black girl
Mhm.
talking about she's the owner.
Mhm.
What? We had so many noses turned up at us.
Mhm.
I think some people even thought like, oh yeah, they know we coming the first day is like this.
Mm.
But they respect us so much
Yeah.
now because they see this is what it is.
Mhm.
From our podiatrist to our techs that come in and draw blood to
Yes.
hospice care. We've really, really built a reputable brand for ourselves. So as unfortunate as it is, we were shied upon in the beginning. You
Mhm.
know, when I was reaching out to hospital social workers and all of these placement agencies, these Caucasian owned placement agencies, they were looking at me like I was crazy,
Mhm.
you know. So I really had to show up.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is what's up. This
Right.
is family ties, you know.
Mhm.
So I just say to the dreamer, you know, anything is possible.
Mhm.
I always tell you, like, I don't care if you got 10 plans in your head, write it down.
Mhm.
It's something about a thought versus visually
Visually
looking
seeing
at
it.
this.
Yeah.
When I said I was going to do this, I have a binder, you've seen it, that's
Mhm.
this thick.
Mhm.
And when I say I wrote out everything, I mean, how many TVs do I need? How many sheet sets to start? You know, how many dishes? What is payroll going to look like when I can afford one staff versus when I can afford to staff it for 7 days a week?
Mhm.
And I'm gonna tell you, as I started, even down to what permits do I need, what zoning, what this, what that. As I started to check off the smallest things, the first one was apply for your LLC, right?
Right.
Get your EIN. As I started to do those things, I had this binder and I just checked them off.
Mhm.
And I will tell you visually, the list became smaller and smaller because I
Mhm.
just began to check things off. So I say that to say, you know, anything is possible. Anything that you want to do is possible. I am that person. I'm not sitting here telling nobody, oh, you need to go to college. I'm not saying don't.
Mhm.
I have a second year daughter who is in college to be a nurse.
Mhm.
So I encourage that. That's what she wants to do, and that's what we support her in.
Mhm.
But then I have another daughter who is a hustler. She ain't get it out the mud, but get it out the mud.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what's for you is for you. College isn't for everybody. You
Mhm.
know, some people struggle and can barely get through high school. That doesn't make you bad. It just means that that part isn't for you because
Right.
that piece isn't there. Doesn't mean that hustler grind piece isn't there.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
know. So I just say follow your dream. We have so many people in our city that are doing big,
Amazing
big,
things.
big
Yeah.
things, you
Yeah.
know. And shout out to social media for that also because it does shed so many lights on so many people.
Yeah.
When I was young, a young whippersnapper, because I'm not young, but we didn't have that. You
Mhm.
know, we had MySpace. You wanted to put a song up about whatever boy you was talking about in a
Mhm.
picture. We didn't have this be an influencer, be this, be that.
Mhm.
So I just say, you know, put those dreams on paper,
Mhm.
create vision boards,
Mhm.
you know, do those things that will help you to succeed, whatever it is, you can do it. You
Mhm.
know, I don't care if you're putting away $25 a month out of a paycheck,
Mhm.
a week, whatever.
Mhm.
Do it because it's attainable. And as you start to mark off those small things,
Mhm.
you know, you'll see it. You will
Yes.
absolutely see it. And on that note, because I always tell you, write it down, write it down.
Yes.
I actually have gifts for you in Gentle. I know Gentle isn't here today.
Mhm.
That is nothing big, is nothing
We appreciate
outlandish,
it. We do.
but I want you girls to have it because it speaks to what I always tell you.
Mhm.
Write it down, put
Yes.
it in writing.
Mm.
You can do it. Even you, I mean, shout out to you because you've
Thank you.
been with
Thank you.
me for a year and a half and you are an amazing woman, but I have seen you even add so many more things to you know, your catalog in this year and a half.
Mm.
When you first came to work for me, all inclusive was just
A dream.
a
It was
dream.
a vision that I just kept talking about. Literally. Like, and I mean years
Yes.
talking about.
But look how something's I can remember I said, Shakira, you was like, I want to get merch and I want to do this and I was like, Shakira, I have a cousin.
Yes.
He does.
Connections is real. And it's not just connections, it's godly connections.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say that, like, God literally put us together because
Absolutely.
we were supposed to meet at that time. Where I was at when I first got my CNA, I actually knew about your business
Okay.
because I worked with her daughter. And she was like, "Hey, you always working. My mother has a assisted living. She just opened up." And I'm like, "No, I'm okay. I'm cool." I was comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So that speaks to comfortability. I was
Absolutely.
comfortable. But when I walked off of my job that was not conducive to my mental health, and I was like, I'm gonna just work this part-time job and I'll figure it out. And your daughter called me. I started working only 2 days a week with you.
Please tell it, because when
Yeah.
you came to me, my exact words were, listen, right now, I just need you on the weekend.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy because that's when I was working 7 days a week.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, I'm to a place where if I can at least hire a weekend staff,
Mm-hmm.
I can go home on
Right.
Fridays and, at least I come back in the evening, or what have you,
Right.
however it worked out. And I can remember telling you, I know it looks small. I know it just seems like this
Mm-hmm.
big dream, but if you stick with me, I got you.
And literally 2 months.
You were
It
full
was
time.
I was full
You
time.
were full time.
I was full time. And some people may shun upon in this culture, hey, you're working for someone, but when you're working for the right person
Mm-hmm.
and a godly person, it makes a whole world of
Difference.
difference.
And I think well, I don't think I know, I tell you all the time, like, girl, I'm so grateful for you. And sometimes I feel like, God, I hope I'm not putting too much on Shakira, because you will jump in and you will pick up roles and tasks and responsibilities. And I'm so grateful in it. And I tell people all the time, it's no I in team.
No iron team.
You cannot build a successful business on the back of yourself.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
doesn't happen,
Yeah.
so I'm thankful for you, and I say it all the time. And something else that I found, unfortunately, people don't share
Yeah.
as much as you would like to think. Like, a person could call me and they could ask me anything,
Mm-hmm.
and girl, I will run it down. We'll sit on the phone for hours. I tell you, from the first start to the 20th ending point, what you
Mm-hmm.
need to do to open assisted living. Whereas myself, I had people that could share the information. I had people that could help me get full. I had people who, just the second that they thought I was going to do just a
A
tad bit
bit
better
more.
than what they
Yeah.
were or what they were doing,
Mm-hmm.
the real them shows,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just so unfortunate, because especially in the Black community, if we just stuck together a little bit more, because there's enough for all of us to eat,
Yes.
if we just stuck together a little bit more.
Because Louis Vuitton, and I'm throwing these names out because we're the number one consumers in this
Absolutely.
in the United States. But Louis Vuitton is not arguing with Gucci because Louis Vuitton has a product, Gucci got a product, Burberry got a product,
And they
Nike
right here,
got a
right here, and right
right,
here.
and exactly Nike got a product. Adidas has a product. They're not fussing about that. They all are eating.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Because
yeah,
what's for you is for you. If we worried about who got chicken sandwiches and French fries, it wouldn't be a McDonald's on this corner and a Wendy's on this one.
right, right,
It's
right.
enough for everybody to eat. And unfortunately, in the Black community, that's not the mentality that people have.
It's like that crabs in a
It's a
barrel.
crab in a barrel.
and
So,
that's why it's so important to build a team of people around you. Our last episode, we talked about self-care, and a great point that Gentle talked about was having the right people around you, because when you have the right people around you, that's like everything is not great every day for us in
absolutely.
our personal lives, because we've built a relationship outside of the boss,
Right.
employee relationship. But you see me in low places, and it's like that doesn't mean you, but you are the one that's like, I'm gonna grab you up. I mean, today you might not be the best that you can be, but I'm gonna grab you up. So having that, and I hope I've done the same for you. You
Absolutely.
know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because we went through
Absolutely.
it with staffing.
Absolutely.
It was like me and you for a while.
Absolutely. It was.
um, so it's like when you have the right team, the key word is team,
It is.
and
It is.
and the right team,
It
because
is.
you can have pieces of the puzzle that just don't fit.
Just don't fit. And vibrations are real.
Yeah.
When you have somebody around you that's everything is negative, they
Mm-hmm.
always mad, they so sad, nothing ain't going right.
Mm-hmm.
That vibrations matter, energy matters, and it drains you.
Mm-hmm.
So I know for me, I had to turn off certain people that, I thought was for me, and my energy just always was so drained.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that I don't talk to them, but I talk to them in doses, or I talk to them
Yes.
when I just feel like it,
Yes.
and it can feel lonely. I'm telling you, the road to the top can feel so
Lonely.
lonely.
Yes.
It can really, really feel lonely, because people are visual.
Yes.
So all that they see,
Mm-hmm.
oh, she got this, oh, they doing that, but they don't see the
Hard work.
$10,000 a payroll,
Mhm.
or and I'm just,
Yeah, throwing out
throwing out numbers,
mhm,
but they don't see that. They don't see, the things behind the scene that it takes to get to
mhm.
this. It's just people are visual and they think that they know.
Right.
They don't know. They don't know you paying a mortgage just like them, you paying a car payment like them,
Mhm.
you trying to make sure your credit stay good just like them.
Right.
I never ever had so many gimme, 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 gimmes.
And I think that's another part that we can hit, like
Absolutely.
because you're in a field where there's always going to be older people, um it's like, oh, well, she's making this amount. Well, she has to feed these people. She pays for the delegating nurse to oversee her
Hmm.
facility. Every 45 days, she has to come out. That's a payment that you
Hmm.
have to be responsible for.
Absolutely.
You're providing 24-hour care, and you're responsible for their lives.
Absolutely.
Like, these
Absolutely.
people lives depend on you.
Absolutely.
Um,
And that was something when I first started this, and I'll take you back to when I said I first started in 2016.
mhm,
When I stopped, honestly, I was like, do I really want to be responsible for these people like 24 hours a
mhm,
day of making sure that they are okay?
mhm.
And now, in doing it, it's like second nature for
Second
us.
nature, yeah.
We making sure they seeing every specialty,
Mhm,
every whatever,
mhm.
but it is hard work. I'm not saying that it's not. We got to make sure these people got lights that's gonna come on
Yes.
24 hours a
And
day.
some people wanna run the TV all day long, even if they sleep, and that's electricity, food. Food is like
Because we don't feed oodles and noodles and bologna sandwiches.
yeah,
Them babies eat.
yes.
And they eat good. If we eating crab cakes, they eating crab cakes.
Mhm.
If we eating, whatever.
Yeah.
We
Cookouts every
everything.
holiday. I mean, literally, for Christmas, because that was my first Christmas with
Hmm.
you. Like, you did a gift exchange, but for the families, but you also went out and bought gifts,
Absolutely.
and that Christmas bonus was nice too. But like, you don't hear people in a smaller business doing what you did.
Absolutely. And I think that's because the profit, don't get me wrong. In business, we do it for a return,
Right.
a profit, right? But I put out way more than what I have to put out. I
Mhm,
do way more than what I have to do by a state requirement
mhm.
or, a COMA regulation. So it's never a holiday that we don't celebrate.
Right,
It's never a birthday that we don't celebrate.
right.
We do those things because I'm not selfish and I genuinely do it because that's what I want to do. It makes me feel good
Yes, absolutely.
when I do those things for.
We could cook out on the grill, and they look forward to
They do.
yeah,
They
they
do.
do.
Listen, I'ma say we the shit.
Mhm.
Like family ties is the shit.
Yes.
Is it and I mean, hey, cats out the bag. We get
Yeah.
ready to open number two.
Number 2.
So I just thank God in it because He has absolutely blessed me. And I'm not sitting here saying that I have everything or know all of the tools or, can't stand to learn some
Mhm.
stuff because I do. I talk to people who can teach me. I
Yes,
build myself around people where I am not the smartest person in the room.
absolutely.
So it is what it
Y'all
is.
better
And
catch these gems. She
hmm,
giving y'all gems.
hmm,
You better catch these gems. Don't think that you know everything, because if you are the smartest person in the room, then you cannot learn and you will not grow.
absolutely, you have a problem,
Yes.
But you got some people who think it's cool that they're the smartest person in the room,
Right.
and that's not me. So, um, it's just awesome, and I'm excited for what's in store.
Yes,
You
yes.
know,
Number 2 will be here very, very soon.
yeah,
Yeah, very
yeah,
soon.
yeah,
Like, very soon.
yeah, very
Yeah.
soon.
So, um,
And we've even crossed into new territories because
yes.
we're taking on a what is the word of its own crossing into a different county
Yes.
you know
Yes.
so I'm just excited, and even in that, I've started to be that black girl in me.
Mhm.
I'm meeting with black contractors, black providers,
Mhm.
black fire installers,
Mhm.
safety installers,
Yeah.
sprinkler installer, because it's so many of us, again, like I'll say, that are just doing great things.
Yes.
And, we just don't support each other like we should, you
Absolutely.
know.
Um, Also, I want to throw this out. She's actually one of our sponsors. She's our only sponsor right now
Hmm.
of the All Inclusive Podcast. So give it up to her. So that just shows like she knows what the ultimate vision for this is.
Absolutely.
And I know that, we're gonna always have that relationship.
Hmm.
But you were not like, when I was having a conversation with you about that, you were like, what does that entail? And I was kind of nervous about saying, well, you a sponsor gotta. She was like, no. What does a sponsor do?
Hmm.
And I was like, I mean, well, if they sponsor, like they, we're gonna tell this
And that's
exactly how
exactly
that's
how you
exactly
are.
how I was. I was like, I'm gonna, let them know that you sponsor. She was like, no, what do I need to do to become a sponsor? How much is an episode? I'm going to sponsor you guys. And I was like, okay. And I was like, but I'm going, she was like, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing it for you and for you guys, because that's one less episode that you have to kick out money for. So that just shows like when you're around the right people and you build the right team around you,
Absolutely.
that things are just gonna flow and God is just gonna put people in their places. Also, before we end the show, first I want to thank you for coming on and giving your wisdom, your gems, your
Absolutely. Thanks for having
experiences.
me.
But Gentle's not here, like I said, but we are going to be sponsoring, which we talked about. We're going to be sponsoring one elementary level school student for the 2023 2024, sorry, school year. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to send to the all inclusive podcast 44 at gmail.com nominations for someone who may need assistance. We're going to sponsor a child a pair of shoes, 4 uniforms, a book bag character of their choice, and basic school supplies, because we want to give back. And we understand that it's rough out here and people are going through things, and sometimes it's silent. So we're going to give back to the community, and this is just the start. We're going to start with one, but who knows, next year we might be able to do a whole community outreach where we can sponsor hundreds of children. So send the information. I'm going to go through it, and I'm going to allow God to just guide me to which person to choose, and make sure that you put that information on, even if it's an email address, a text. I would prefer to be personal and give them a call and let them know. But yes, that's what the All Inclusive Podcast is doing.
Well, you're going to do two because I'm going to sponsor one.
And she's going to sponsor one. See, when you got the right team. And with that being said, we're out.